for the greatest show in the history of great fucking shows.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
Okay, here we are in studio, 48th floor, Civic Hotel, beers with Brokeass. Today's guest on the podcast is Tony Lachapelle, two-time amateur champion on the Vancouver Golf Tour. When I first heard your story, it was unbelievable to me. At the age of 35, you decide you want to become a professional golfer, and here you are 10 years later, knocking on the door.
How you doing?
What's going on, Tony?
So, where did you grow up?
Oh man, Wally, Guilford.
Attaboy.
Mostly all the life. Spent a lot of time Grosvenor Road, 108, 104. You know.
You were saying your dad built the house before, but when
Yeah, he
when
did.
we
Right on
yeah.
140th and 108th was Sue's Market, and we when I was born, we moved there from Richmond, and I was there until I was about 6. Moved out of there down to near Ledgeview, and spent quite a bit of time down there. Kind of where I got into sports was right around that time.
That's awesome.
7
What
years
kind of
old.
sport caught your eye at first?
My dad, my mom and dad were never into sports at all.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it on TV. They never brought it up. But my dad came home one day. I was 7 years old. I'll never forget it. He had a white cap soccer ball with blue stars around it. He said, "Here you go." And I, thanks. And then that was it. He
Bob
basically,
Leonarduzzi days.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Back in those days. And he never said, "Okay, let's go to the park and play." It was just like, here's
Here
your
you
ball.
go.
There's your ball. do
There's
your
the
thing.
wall. Do
There's
your
the
thing.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm so glad that happened, because that just
Sparked
Fell in
it, right?
love
it
with
sparked me. I started hitting the wall with the ball, and after a month or two, I started seeing spin on the ball, and understood the concept of spin and direction, and it kind of just started from there.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then the sports were, Marco, we played a lot of sports together.
Yeah,
over the
absolutely,
years.
man. The hockey box.
Those football games
Football,
sometimes at
night-
Holly Park.
Yeah.
Nighttime football, Rob Gibson, Darren Mitchell, those boys,
yeah.
we were out there nightly.
Oh, that. I'm glad you brought that up, because this is actually a funny story. So me, Class, and Rob, Terry, T-Bone, we're looking out at these guys that are like practicing, man. They're running drills, and they're like, the lights are on, and they're on the soccer field at Holly
So it looks
School.
like they're like professionals,
Yeah, like they're. So I yelled down,
Right,
"Hey,
right.
what are you assholes fucking doing?" Because that's just when you grow up in the hood, you think that no one's getting out of the hood. That's just the way you're
Yeah.
born. You're raised negative,
Right.
pretty much.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, I yell at these guys, "Hey, fuckheads, what do you guys think you're doing?" And then Steve Mitchell, it's so beautiful. He yells back, "Hey, fuck you! We're trying out for the BC Lions in a month."
You got to explain. Back in the day, these guys look older.
Yeah.
They look like older guys, right?
They're big guys,
Right,
Rob
right.
Gibson's
Rob
a
Gibson
beast.
for sure, right?
So Class starts laughing. Rob yells down, "Fuck, man, we'll come down there and kick your guys' asses."
Wow. I
Yeah,
thought,
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
I thought everybody's pretty tight around there.
No,
Apparently
no,
not.
not in a fight. That you guys would have killed us. We're a year younger.
I
a
think they
couple
meant in
years-
the game, right?
In the game.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we come down there, and I still fucking remember. We're it's like the last play of the game, and fucking Steve blows a coverage, and he blames it on Tony. When Rob,
Yeah, right.
when Class bombs, or I think it was Rob bombed one out, and Class fucking runs it in for the touchdown, and Steve was just blowing up at Tony, trying to blame it on you, and we're like, "You suck, Steve."
I never
Rob
really,
Gibson was choked. I still remember that till this day.
they were pretty passionate guys.
Yeah.
Steve especially. You remember Steve with his high kicks. I
Yeah.
mean, this guy threw kicks that,
Yeah,
I could stand on
I remember his card tricks is what I remember, but the kicks too.
yeah. Fuck, they were funny. Those were
You
good
could dance
times.
too.
Hell of a dancer.
Right.
Entertainer.
Yeah,
all
he
the
was
way.
super athletic too.
That's what I mean, like dancing, kicking.
Yeah.
Basketball, he's slamming nets that are 10 feet
Yeah.
high. I remember that.
Insane,
That was a
insane.
That was kind of a funny story though. But anyway, so then, so what do you do right now?
For the last 8 years, I've been working with Coast Mountain Bus Company. So just driving buses, work nighttime. So it's a lot of non-payers, shall we say. You know,
Stressful or
Whereabouts you
Yeah,
working?
can
Where
be
do you work
stressful
in
for
the
sure.
city?
I do the 99B line, which is the busiest run in North
that's
America.
Broadway there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Broadway,
I've been on
commercial
that.
Broadway to UBC.
Oh,
And then sort of through the night, we turn into night buses, and that's where it gets interesting.
yeah.
N19s to Surrey,
Well,
right
do
here,
tell.
Surrey Central. Yeah.
Wow.
So most of those boys, they just jump on. They don't pay, and we don't say anything.
Yeah, well, that's good though, because it's
Let them go. If
Yeah.
they come on the front door,
You got
I'm
a family to
I'm
go
thinking to
home to,
myself,
right?
just
You
go
know?
in the back door. You don't need to come in the front door and ask
Yeah.
me,
yeah,
or
yeah.
just walk by. Just go in the back door and get your ride.
Absolutely, absolutely. You don't need to be getting stabbed or something over a $2 ride or whatever it is.
So, yeah, it's just you know, and it's shift work, so I'm allowed to pick my shifts, which is beautiful for golf.
Yeah,
You know, I can work late. I can work kind of early late. I'm off at 4 a.m. I get home 5 o'clock. I'm up at noon. I'm at the range by 1.
yeah.
There till 4. Pick up my boy. Spend 3 hours.
Well,
go
we were
back,
talking
do it
about
again.
football and soccer. Like, where did the golf? Like, how did that come in? You know,
You know,
Totally, they're different sports.
Yeah, you guys
to
got
be
2
honest,
hours.
right?
Yeah, no, we do actually.
Well, we
Okay.
got time, right? We got time.
So I knew at a young age that sports was what I wanted to do. I remember being in school with, I think it was Jason Leary or
Yeah.
it was Keith
Right.
Hartley. I'm not sure which guy
Probably
it was.
Keith Hartley.
Keith Hartley.
was
I think
more
so.
your age.
We were guys that like to laugh in class. I
Yeah.
did not like homework. I thought we go to school till 3:00 p.m. and now we got to go home and do homework.
You're
So my
thinking-
mom would always ask me, you know, you done your homework? Yeah, I'm going to
Right.
play hockey with Marco and the boys.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember sitting in class with I think it was Keith Hartley actually, and the teacher was giving us shit for something. He was just like, "You guys are causing a problem again," and we were always joking around.
Yeah.
Whether it was
I
passing
love
notes
Keith.
and
He was
making-
funny.
he was
Rest
a
in peace.
great guy. And teacher's getting on my nerves. He kept saying, you know, you guys this, you guys that. And I said to Keith, I said, or Jason, I'm not sure which one. I said, lick my balls. And I thought in no way did this teacher hear me. So he says, Tony, come up to the front, please. And he gives me this, hands me a piece of paper, and it's in an envelope. And he says, take this to Colburn. And I don't know if you guys remember Mr. Colburn.
Mr. Fred
yeah.
Coburn.
He hated me.
He hated
Every-
a lot of
He
people.
Fred R.
did.
Colburn?
He was just a pure asshole.
He was an
Yeah.
asshole. Ex-cop, I believe, right?
Was he?
I
Yep.
think so.
that
something
would,
like
that would
that.
make a little bit of sense.
Yeah.
But, so he says, take this down to Mr. Colburn. And so I took this note, and I had no idea what it said. So Colburn sees me walk into the office. Of course, he goes back in his office, makes me wait there for a half an hour, sitting there in front of the secretaries. You know,
Stupid haircut and those glasses, right?
Yeah.
Fucking guy.
come here, Tony. So I come in there, and he says, what's this? And I said, I have no idea. I was given it by the teacher. I got in a little trouble for making noise. And he goes, oh, you know, kind of figures kind of thing. And he opens up this letter, and I'll never forget it because I'm sitting there and I'm listening to him read this letter, and he's going,
Right.
Tony and Keith Hartley or Jason Leary, I'm not sure which one. Causing disturbance in class, not the first time. Goes on to read, and at the bottom it says, and out of nowhere floated lick my balls. and,
Oh, that's beautiful.
and Colbert looked at me, and I didn't know what to say. I just kind of smiled. Yeah, you know, you got me.
Yeah, you're
So,
busted. You're busted.
You know, as far as school, I was not good academically, only because I didn't want to. I was so bored with math and English and all that. You
Yeah,
know, it was like
absolutely.
if I had a
Same way.
double block of PE, I was there.
Yeah,
I was
I
at
remember-
school. I was not skipping.
I remember you always being early in the morning, an hour before playing sports, hours afterwards.
And that when my mom finally put me into soccer at around 7 years old, I remember she would say, okay, you got practice tonight. And I would have my cleats and my pads
Like you're
on
ready
at
to
home.
go.
Oh yeah, at home an hour before. And
Yeah,
we'd get in the car and I'd be the first one there. And I didn't care that nobody was there because I knew the coach was going to show up in 15 minutes with a bag of balls and we'd start kicking it around.
Nice.
And I was sort of always like that. When we played hockey at lacrosse box, I just wanted to be there, you know.
All the time.
And always last one to leave because I didn't want to miss anything. And, you know, I just had this drive, you
Yeah.
know, it's like a weird kind of thing. I wanted to have a hard shot in hockey. I wanted
Yeah.
to be a hard passer, you know, and it sort of went along with guys like yourself and there was so many
there was
good
some
hockey
guys that had
players.
some natural ability.
There's some really good
Absolutely.
athletes, you know.
For sure.
Definitely.
And,
That's for sure.
Yeah, you know, and we pushed each other and we played
Yeah.
hard, and that continued on into my teenage years and on into my adult life where I picked up ice hockey, and I actually went out for making the cut. I don't know if you remember that. Mike Keenan, I think, was doing that whole thing.
Yeah.
So it was at
Re-
eight rinks
reality
in Burnaby.
TV.
Yeah, reality TV. I knew I wasn't going to make it, but I wanted the experience. And I showed up, and I remember my friend Peter Dennis came with me, and
That's awesome.
he was stoked and went through some drills, and they're like, okay, skate backwards. You got to round those cones and go in the goalie and take a shot. And I ripped it top corner, and I felt good. They called out maybe like 15 names out of 25 guys. And I wasn't one of those guys, and I was accepting of that because I
you just wanted to get out there for the
and, and I wasn't terrible. I didn't look like what's this guy doing, and then where golf came in, it's kind of funny. Like I worked in the casino from '97, and I remember in '98, one of my friends from the casino, he says, "Hey man, you want to play some golf?" He says, "We play golf every week, and a good group of guys who want to come out." I said, "Golf? I don't golf. I play hockey." Yeah. He says, "No, just come out, man." He goes, "You know what? Come out, play golf, and every shot you hit, I will stay with you. I'll tell you what to hit. You're going to hit a shit shot, and don't worry about it. Just play golf and have fun." So I went out that day, and I to this day, I remember this. Alan Cliff was his name. He helped me every single shot. Okay, hit your 3-wood. And I topped this thing about 10 feet. Fuck. And he said, "Don't worry about it. Let's go hit the next one." And he did. He stayed with me all day. And that's kind of where it began. And then we went on for 10 years playing with the same group once a week. And fell in love with the game after 10 years. And,
find yourself sneaking away and stuff playing?
No, I didn't practice at the time. I just played. Yeah, just played once a week. Look forward to it every day that we're going to play. And it's funny because I kind of made up my mind. I think it was 10 years ago, like pretty close to right now. And I said, I wonder how my wife would feel if I brought this up and said, "Hey, I want to pursue this as a career. I want to see where I can go with it," because I don't get bored with practice. So for me, it was like, okay, if she says yes, I can go to the range today and I can work on this game. And I can pursue this and see how long that lasts,
and not feel guilty or whatever.
And not and work with her because it's tough. Right. It's tough to tell you. Not at the time. I wasn't even married yet, but we were together at the time. And so I remember I took her out for dinner that night, and I just said, "Hey," and I threw it out there, and right away, "Yeah, go for it." I said, "Hold on a second.
Yeah. You don't know how hard it is to become a professional golfer.
This is not a 1 hour a day.
Like I'm going to be gone a little bit.
It's not once a week. It's going to be. It's if I'm going to go for this, I'm going to go for it."
Yeah.
So it started there, and she said, "Well, how many guys do you know get to chase the goal, chase their dream?"
You have to chase your dream.
Do what you love to do. You have to. I tell my son that all the time. He doesn't quite comprehend it, but I'm going to drill that into him. Do what you love to do because it's very important.
Absolutely.
You have to live your dream, man. You don't want to wake up at 60 or 70 and say, "I could have, would have, and should have," right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're only one life.
Right, man.
So that's awesome.
So and when she gave me the go ahead, I remember the day. It was rainy, it was windy, and I said, "I'm going to go to the range." She's like, "Yeah, go for it." And I went to the range. So we kept track of how much I practiced because we wanted to see where I was in 2 years. That was the deal.
Yeah.
I'll give it 2 years, see where you're at. So I think I went 6 days a week, if not 7, and I was hitting 300 to 400 balls a day.
Wow.
At the range.
At the range. And because I had to build a swing, I had to build something that was that I was going to be comfortable using. And if you know anything about golf, if you get out of your sorts, if you start using different swings, if you don't practice enough, I tell you, this game will eat you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, just look at Tiger Woods, right? When they tried to change his swing and how fucking crazy and sideways that went.
It's amazing. I have a picture, and it has a golfer, and it has him in a swing. And around the swing, it says, "Keep your head still, grip pressure, turn the body, keep the lower body stable." It has all these things.
Mechanisms.
Exactly. And it's hard to comprehend how much you have to do. And at the bottom, it says all done within 1.5 seconds.
Yeah.
And at the same time.
At the same time. And continuously. You have to be consistent. And that's what this game is about.
And it's like you have to generate power from the feet up.
It's
kind of like a boxer in the same way, throwing a punch. But,
exactly. You're generating power, but you're trying to finesse the power to maximum. You can't go in hard, or you're going to be
sense,
like...
Makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. I think golf is one of the hardest sports,
if not the hardest.
If not, yeah, for sure.
In mine too, because you can get defeated. As you're.
It's all mental too,
right? You're not hitting the ball the good that day. You're not driving well, and you can start getting defeated. But you just gotta use every hole as a new one, I guess. I don't know. I don't play it, so
Yeah, it's an insane game. If I had a chip that I could just put in your head and show you what I've gone through in 10 years, you would be just blown away. It's mentally draining sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you go out there and I mean, I've had nights where I'm at the range and I'm striping it and I can fade the ball, I can draw the ball, I'm hitting it high, I'm hitting it low, whatever I want. And I actually have people from the range will come kind of behind me at their time whenever they're walking by. And I've had like older Asian men.
Little crowds.
They'll just stand there and they'll just watch. And that makes me feel good. I've done something, I'm doing something that maybe.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, but then there's the other days. And
when shit's going
are tough.
sideways.
Hey, buddy, I've been out there -2 degrees by myself at the range, and I am not playing well. I'm hitting the ball all over the place and trying to figure it out. And all of a sudden, you'll get one. And it'll feel good. It'll look good. And then you'll step into the next shot, and it goes back to the same shit you were just hitting for the last hour.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you, I've had those days, and it's frustrating as hell.
Oh, and I train too the same way. Sometimes I'll go, and some nights it's like, I'm hitting everything. I'm doing great. I'm hitting double legs, whatever. And then the next night, boom, nothing. I'm getting, sometimes, like, how do I say it? You can't always be the hammer. Sometimes you got to be the nail, right?
Yeah, it's good.
You know what I mean?
It's a good point because I have felt it many times. And, I remember my first tournament ever. I remember thinking, you know what? I've worked hard.
Yeah.
It was probably 3 years into practice and playing that I said, okay, I'm going to join the Vancouver Golf Tour.
That's cool.
I want to see what it's about.
Let's see what's going down.
Yeah,
right?
and I feel good. I've worked
like
hard,
that.
right? I've put my hours in up to this point.
Yeah,
I
right,
figured.
man.
So my wife and I, we rent a hotel in Squamish.
That's awesome.
It's at the Squamish Golf and Country Club. I've never played there before, but I'm thinking, you know what? I know how to hit shots. I just got to hit the shots, right?
Yeah.
So we have dinner that night, have a couple of drinks. I'm feeling good, positive. I went out that morning, and I can honestly say I didn't have a lot of nerves. I didn't feel that pressure as I thought I may. It didn't come on, but I can tell you when I hit my first tee shot, I felt that pressure intensely.
Hit you.
Intensely, because I hit one of the worst shots I've ever hit in my life, and I went, "What the fuck was that?"
And then
Like,
that's
what?
I was just
That's
getting
pressure.
back to.
That's under pressure.
That's what I was just getting back to you. Sometimes then that could have defeated you, but how'd you do on the next shot or the next shot?
Terrible. I hit terrible shots all day long.
Right.
I had never played before. The
did it
time
go
where
more
I played
mental
once
for
a
you,
week.
honestly, or did
Oh
it go,
yeah, I'm sure it was a lot of mental.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it was physical. It was just
because you're not.
maybe I sped it up just that little bit, or I was a little tight in my hands, but I couldn't go back on those things and think, what am I doing?
Yeah.
It had to be, okay, think positive for the next
And you
shot.
got no one else to count on.
I had nothing. I hit
You're all by
every bad shot I could hit that day, and it really put it into perspective of
How hard it is.
how difficult it is under that circumstance and under the pressure. Yeah. And
It's different than hitting balls at the range.
Yeah, and you got to
Right.
understand. My wife had heard about all the practice I put in.
Yeah.
how good I'm gonna
Exactly.
be.
How did
I
that
want to win this. I'm gonna win this tournament.
How did that?
He's on the couch for 2 weeks,
And like golf does, it put me in my seat really quick.
Yeah.
It kind of showed you. It humbled you.
It did.
Humbled
and
you, right?
and then
I've been
my
there.
wife
I know
tried
what
to
that
stay
feels like,
supportive.
so-
She's like,
Yeah.
"Don't worry about it." You know,
One
it's-
bad day.
Oh fuck, buddy. It was a bad day.
That's
So
awesome.
I learned a lot that day.
So how did you do your next tournament?
Don't remember, because I just remember going home and saying, I got to work on this.
Yeah.
I got to work on that feeling of that tournament. How can I do that? Well, every shot I'm hitting at the range when it's 0 degrees and snowing and nobody else is here, I'm going to really focus on what I'm doing. I'm going to put myself in that spot again at Squamish
Like
Golf and
mentally.
Country Club,
Right.
Yeah.
at that
Smart.
shot, and hit that shot probably 50 or 60 times before I move on to a 7-iron or a 5-iron. It was all about wedges at that point because I hit a
Nice.
lot of bad wedges. And yeah.
I guess
Crazy.
you go to where your game is kind of lacking, and then go from there. Right?
I wish it was that simple. It moves all the time.
Yeah. Sometimes
Same
your
thing,
drivers are
Yeah.
fucking on par, and then all of a sudden your
It's so
short
weird.
game's terrible, and then it's putting it all together
It's
at the
constant.
same time.
It's constant, and it's still to this day. And I mean,
Yeah.
PGA Tour, you look at those guys, and like DJ, he'll be on a run for weeks or months, and his
Yeah.
driver will be money. And all of a sudden,
Yeah, it
one
goes
day,
sour. So self.
it goes sour, and he kind of
Uh,
like, hey, what was that? And then
Makes
the next
sense.
shot, he'd be like, that one's okay. And then he'll hit a really shit one. And they all go through it, right? And
Yeah.
I go through it every day. Golf is something that you can't be perfect at. So you just try your best to.
So were you like competing against, say, like Adam Hadwin and some of those guys?
No.
Or?
Those guys are pros. They
Yeah.
are pros. I am not. I am an amateur. I'm at the
Still.
top amateur level. This
Yeah.
year probably haven't played my best at all.
Yeah.
But the grind is there and the practice is real, and I just keep doing it over and over and over. I mean, I schedule my shifts at work sometimes where I have like in the bus company, you can work a morning shift where you're working like the rush hour morning, and then you'll get a 5-hour break. Well, I was at Riverway Golf Course because it was close to my house or close to work. And I was there and I would putt for an hour and a half. I would go and chip for an hour and a half. And I go to the range, and I got to know the range guy there, so he'd throw me a couple of buckets of free balls. So I'd be hitting about 200 balls in that time. Or I would get there and I would say, "Do you got anything open for me to go out?" He'd say, "Yeah, there's a single spot in 10 minutes. You want to
Wow.
go?" Yeah. And that's the way I did it every day, 5 days a week, because I wasn't driving back to Langley and back out to Burnaby to go to work.
Way too much.
So
work,
my
way too
5
much
hours
work,
was
right?
perfect. I
Right,
mean,
right,
and my
right.
job is
Yeah,
not
the
physical.
flexibility,
It's
so-
not physical.
Yeah.
So I drove night buses. I remember driving night buses. I had a tournament the next day, and I'd be driving and I'd be thinking, my putting, grip pressure, putting. And I could have drove by 7 stops, had no fucking clue. If anybody's-
Right, exactly. Someone
clue.
is changing
Fuck,
your
did I-
fucking. You're that asshole. You're that asshole buster I'm running behind, right? Motherfucker, what are you doing, right?
Exactly. So
As he's thinking about golf.
but I love it,
fucking guy.
and
Yeah.
that's important to me, that you love what you do, and
Of
it's
course.
something that drives me every day. And I don't always love it because of the bad days, but
Right.
ultimately in the big.
Well,
big
if you
picture.
think about it, it's pretty fucking inspiring story, right? Like, so 35 or 36 is when you pretty much...
Picked up the club at 24.
Yeah.
Played once a week for the
Yeah.
10 years, and at 35 was when I took her out for dinner and asked her. And since I mean,
And you decided to just someone come up to you and say, "I think."
Well, here's the funny thing.
They thought he was crazy.
My manager at the casino was Ken Stratton. He was a general manager of the Boulevard Casino at the time. He was married to my sister for many years, so I had played baseball with him.
Yeah.
We had spent a lot of time drinking, partying together, whatever. He's a little
Gotcha.
bit older than me. Anyway, we were really close. So he's my manager at the time. I'm 35. I decided to do this. I talked to my wife. She says, "Yeah, let's go for it." Went to the range, and I think it was like the next day or that week at least. I went up to him and I said, "Ken," he says, "Yeah, come in the office. Talk to me. What's going on?" I said, "I'm going to pursue golf as a career."
Get out.
And that pretty much, that's what he kind of laughed and said, "You have
Oh,
no
of course he
idea
laughed.
what it takes." And he was a good golfer. He was about a 10 handicap, 12 handicap, and probably still is a pretty good golfer. And he laughed and he says, "There's no fucking way. Okay. You're 35. These guys have been doing it since they were young. They have coaches. They have I said, "I believe if I put in the time and effort that I have,
Hell yeah.
I believe that I can go somewhere with it." And I said, worst case scenario, I make a senior tour at the age of 55.
Yeah, absolutely.
And these guys play
Stop.
into their 60s, 70s, right? I mean,
You're still
it's
making
there.
money.
So I want to.
Serious coin, bro.
So he laughed, and so fast forward, probably about 2 or 3 years in, I went in to see him. He was now at Cloverdale Raceways running that casino, and he said he brought me in the office when I worked there for a bit. He said, "Tony, when you first said this to me that you were going to pursue golf, I laughed." He goes, "And now I talk about you.
Yeah.
I talk about you to my friends. I talk about
You're
how
an
you.
inspiration, right?
I can't believe how much time and effort you put in and how good you've gotten in this time." And I
have to.
said, "But I'm nowhere yet. I need more."
Yeah.
And so he said one day, "I want to come caddy for you. You
Well,
want me
that's
to come?"
awesome.
And I said, "Yeah, let's do it." Because we're so close. He knew me. He
Yeah.
knew my game. We played enough, right? And so
You had to calm you down too if you need.
yeah, he knew me. He knew me
Right.
personally. So it was a great mix, a great fit. Yeah. So, I remember going to a tournament on the island, and it was my first travel tournament, like jump on the ferry, go get a hotel, whatever. So him and I, yeah, totally. But I wasn't going to get as pumped as Squamish because I knew what happened.
Yeah.
And your wife wasn't there with this one.
She was not
So
there.
it's a little different because got
Totally.
Your girl there.
And
Got your
I
girl
was
there.
I was a lot more
Kind of trying to press your girl a little bit, right? Obviously, right?
Yeah. I was a lot more committed this time because I had put in a certain amount of time of work, and I felt like I had gotten past that. But I was still weary of it, still wary of how I'm going to play, how things are going to turn out. So anyway, that day we wake up, and I was up at about maybe 7 a.m. and I come out of the room and I'm asking our other buddy who was there to play in the same tournament. I said, "Where's Ken?" He says, "Ken left an hour ago." Well, where the fuck did he go?
Checking the
Nothing's
course
open.
out.
He said he's walking the course.
Nice.
He's walking the
out.
course and he's seeing where he wants you guys to lay up or, where you want to go
That's a
for
real
it.
caddy right there, man.
You fucking got to be shitting me.
That's
and the guy
awesome.
was there for over 2.5 hours. And he came back and he said, let's do this. Again, I didn't play well.
Yeah.
But he had done that. And I thought, wow, that's something.
Yeah,
For
he's
a guy
taking
to
it
do
serious.
that.
Batman and Robin in the beginning almost.
I'm nobody. I'm not there yet. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And from that point on, I knew I was going to keep him around.
Yeah.
And we won twice. We won my first summer event on the Vancouver Golf Tours at Meadow Gardens. I'll never forget it. I remember walking down the 18th hole. If you've ever played there, the 18th hole is 3 shots over water. So
Yeah.
there's water right and left, first tee shot. There's water straight ahead on the second shot. And there's water on your third shot approach.
That's
Wow.
awesome. So that, if you're not very good, that can turn into like a
That's a
13.
nightmare.
Yeah, you can lose a lot of balls.
A
So
13 or
a
14.
nightmare.
So Ken
Wow.
says, you see that bridge out there? It's 300. Aim for that bridge. I said, yeah, I like that. So I hit this shot and I hit it on a rope. And so I'm now in position for my second shot. And I remember checking my phone from the leaderboard, and I saw that the leaderboard was me and the guy behind me. The group behind me was the guy I was tied with, and we were both sitting at +1 at the time. So I thought, I got to birdie this hole. It's par
That's a
5.
nail biter.
Yeah, it was coming down to like, holy
Right.
shit, this actually
Yeah,
could
you
mean
could win
something.
this.
Right.
And so I
down.
said to Ken on the second shot, I have a hybrid from about 230. And I said, Ken, this is probably the biggest shot of my life. And he looked at me and shook his head and he says, don't think that right now. Get that out of your head. You
Yeah.
need to hit at 230 and we're going to
Focus.
go at that bush. And that's your line.
Laser focused.
And that was the best shot I probably ever hit to this day, because it was on a rope and it was on the exact line. And he said to me, great shot.
Nice.
And so I get up
Money.
to the third shot. I'm thinking, all right, over water. We got about 109 yards. I'll try and stick it tight. And I stuck it to about 10 feet. And I had that putt to win. And I made the putt.
Nice.
And it was a little breaker downhill, right to left. And that was a really good feeling. I remember the smile. I couldn't get it off my face. And the guy that I beat came up to me inside and he says, great round. And he was not a guy to say great round to people. He was,
yeah.
he used to play on the Canadian tour. He was a very,
Yeah, he
Mark
wasn't going to
Heinrich.
give props
Oh,
for
wow.
when props weren't due, right?
Yeah, and he knew what was at stake, and he knew I'd never won before, so he knew that the pressure was on me, not so much him. He
Yeah.
had played professional golf, and he knew. So
Must have been a killer feeling, though.
killer
right?
feeling. I don't think I went to work in a happier mood that night, and I went to work, and I didn't get
Yeah.
tired all night, and I was up all day. After that, I thought, that's it. I'm going to start winning a lot. And I remember it was funny because
Doesn't work like that.
it does
Right,
not
right,
work like that.
right.
And even Fraser Mulholland, the commissioner of the Vancouver
Yeah.
Golf Tour, when he interviewed me after, he says, Tony, now that you won your first, we like to say it's a little easier to win your second and your third. And I kind of laughed it off a bit because I knew how hard it was to win that one.
Right.
Yeah.
And I knew how poorly I'd played in the past, like in tournament play and kind of trying to win. And it was very difficult because there's a lot of good players in Vancouver.
Yeah.
There is a ton.
Yeah.
So we go to this tournament, I think it was the following week at Ledgeview. And that's where Adam Hadwin, Nick Taylor, those guys are from.
Nice.
And it was pouring rain. And it was windy and it was cold. And we get to the 16th hole and
Yeah.
I'm tied for the lead with a guy in my group.
Brother.
I get to this putt, and this putt is about 5 feet. So as I'm about to make the stroke, and remember, it's pouring rain.
Yeah.
A guy says, hey, somebody's bag is rolling away. And I turn and look, and my golf bag, which is on a click gear, which I didn't have the brake because my cable was broken or
Yeah.
whatever, and I tried to set it up like so it was proper.
Right.
This fucking thing, Robin Park.
Yeah.
Double
Like a
that
like
hill,
that.
double the length, and my bag is going down that. So I take off after this thing, and I'm running. And the water is spraying up off the wheels, and I'm just about catching up, but I know that the only pond on this course is at the bottom of 16, and it's
no.
got some decorative rocks around it, so my bag's flying down there. And I get to it. I reach out, my middle finger touches the handle, the front tire hits the rocks, flips my whole bag, and I'm talking my wallet, my keys, my phone, my everything in my everything.
Just
Flips upside
done.
down into the water, and it sinks about like right up to the click gear. So I'm basically pulling, and it's 4 feet
Yeah,
all the way around, right? So I'm fucking dragging this thing, and I got to go back up and make my putt still, right? These guys are still up there making their putts. So I fucking pull this bag in, and I get it out of the water. And I mean, this thing weighed a lot now. It's full,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
Check my
Waterlogged,
phone.
right?
Yeah, it's fucked, right? Everything was just
Dead
fucked.
body in your hand.
So I
right?
grab it and I
Jesus
pull it
Christ.
out and I grab my putter. I run back up to the thing. And I know the next tee box is like just over here. So I'm just going to leave my bag here, whatever. I go back up there. I miss the putt. And I'm just like, fuck off. I'm soaking wet. My bag's soaking wet. I run back down the hill. I get my bag. The guys are already teeing off on 17, short par 3.
Yeah.
Right? So I was going to use my 9-iron. So I get up there and I grab that's my 6. Okay, I look for my 9. My 9's not in my bag. It's in the fucking lake. So I run back to the lake. I jump in waist high. Now my scorecards, his scorecard that I'm keeping, is in my back pocket.
And you're just trudging.
And I'm doing one of these, like drag the foot on the bottom, right, looking for the club. And the guy yells back. He says, "No, your 9's in here. It's with another club."
You're in the fucking water.
It's back up at 17.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I start running up there, and I mean, like my laces had water just shooting out of them. My pants were soaked.
yeah.
So the guys are trying to hold a straight face, but they're loving it. What's
Yeah,
going on?
for
They're loving
sure.
it. I am out of breath. I am soaked. So I get to the shot, take the shot, and when we get up to the green, I'm squatting to look at the putt, and when I squat, my pants are hitting my legs, and it's like blowing wind, and I am freezing fucking cold. Okay. So I ended up losing that tournament by a stroke. And
Wow.
I believe it was that putt that I missed after I ran back up the hill because I was too out of
But
breath.
to finish, when
I
you're in
finished.
that
And
condition is, pretty good, right?
a great guy that I play with, he's been around the tour for years. His
Right.
name is Jeff Sheldon.
Yeah, I met-
great
I
guy.
met
Yeah, you
Jeff.
did meet
Yeah.
Jeff Sheldon when you
He's
came
a
out.
good
and
golfer,
watched.
yeah.
Great personality, great guy.
Yeah, I like
I don't care about his. Yeah, he's very consistent.
All right.
Doesn't hit it a ton. Very consistent player and super nice guy. You never meet a nicer guy. And we were just playing in the Vancouver Open here last week, and he said, "Tony, remember that time at Ledgeview?" I said, "Which time?" He says, "Your bag when it rolled in, is that the same click gear?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Your brake's still broken."
That's awesome.
And we had a good laugh, and he says, "Yeah." And I'd forgotten that he was there, but he said to me after that tournament round, he goes, "For you to stay in there with your pants soaked up to your belly button was
That's what you said to
amazing."
her,
And he goes, "You know what?
dedication.
You're not a
Doesn't-
quitter, man.
No,"
That's for
he
sure.
says, no matter how wet I get,
It's
I will
those
always
nights
stay
on the
because
driving
you did
range.
that. What's
You're
that?
out there. It's raining. You're
You're
on
in
the
the
driving
snow.
range.
Well, that's undercover,
You're just-
and I'm for the
you're
most
still
part.
cold. You're still
Totally.
want to be home
Hands,
with your
once I-
wife. You want to be sitting watching TV.
Yeah, there's been a
know
lot
that
of those
feeling.
days. A lot
You
of
know
those
what I mean?
days.
So
Yeah.
it's the dedication you're putting in that gives you the resilience. Who cares
Tons
if
of
I'm
those
wet?
days where you're sitting
cares
out
if
there
I'm
and
wet,
maybe you're
right?
not. Yeah. No, that was a big deal. Trust me. When you're leading or when you're tired.
And
Yeah.
We're Surrey strong here.
Yeah.
Come on,
Apparently,
man.
apparently.
Guildford
So-
Wally
Guildford
raised,
Raleigh
right?
right here, right?
So a couple of funny days out there, and
That's
and,
awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
What's Fraser Mulholland like?
Great guy,
Yeah.
Fraser Mulholland. He's
And-
taken
and-
that tour a long way, and
Yeah.
Jay Janauer does a global sports.
Yeah.
They're pretty good friends.
Oh, good,
and they
good.
have gotten friends
So
over
they're
the years.
plugging the digits a bit.
Fraser's a great guy. He's doing
Nice,
a really
nice.
fantastic job. That whole thing is a great operation.
Nice.
Yeah. So what kind of went down with the COVID? What kind of monkey
Yeah,
wrench?
in the beginning they closed it down. They said no more tournaments for a little
Mhm.
while, and that lasted about a month. And then they decided, okay, we can do this safely. So we showed up, and I'm telling you, they were safe.
Do you got to wear a mask and stuff? when you
Nope.
play?
Nope, because as long as you keep your distance. But I mean, when you do final scoring and you're all sitting
Of
around,
course. I'm just
they're like,
saying
okay,
in
that's
general.
your cone.
Yeah.
That's your cone. That's your
where you
cone.
have to
Really?
stay.
You guys put the cards on the table, take the picture. They don't
Yeah.
touch any. They were very, very
Professional.
careful. Well, they had to be. They could be shut down and
And
we
fined
didn't-
you.
And it's no like, and you got to know everything's wiped down and it's pretty clean, right? So they're doing what they got to do.
No, they've done a bang up job and continuously get support every year and more and sponsorships.
So if a kid or a mom or a parent came up to you and said, "Hey, my kid's 25 or 27, and he wanted to become a professional golfer or something," what would you tell them? Like that this guy has to go through.
I honestly, I don't think I could, because I don't want to discourage someone from
Yeah.
it. But if my buddies
Yeah.
who are 35 come up to me and say, "Hey, you know what? I was thinking of doing this," I would probably say,
Come out with me for a month.
"Yeah, let's go for a beer first. Let me just sort of throw things out in respect."
They'll never
of-
understand though.
Absolutely true.
You know?
And even
But
then,
you were you had a lot of
yes,
natural
and that
ability,
was
too.
one of the things I fed off of for myself.
You were always a good athlete in high
You
school.
definitely were. I remember playing football against you, and you would be the quarterback all the time.
I would love to throw the
And
ball. I would
yeah,
love to
man, you
lay
could throw
out
that
for
ball
catches.
like a laser.
You know, I had my bad days too. We all had
Yeah.
bad
For
games,
sure.
but yes, I had a passion for sports, and,
Yeah.
and it has never left. And it's funny because Ken Stratton, the caddy I told you about, he unfortunately had to move to Edmonton for a job opportunity out
Well,
there.
that sucks.
I'm really sad I lost him. We were
Yeah.
very close, and
Really?
and we were tight as far as golf. Since he's left, I played a lot worse, but I haven't put in less time. I've still retained my practice every day. I've still gone and done.
Yeah.
the
So
work.
what's your day like then? So
That's
let's break it down here. What's your week like? How
Yeah.
many balls you hit in a week?
Yeah.
How many hours are you practicing?
So in the first 2 years, I had to build a swing. That was 85,000 balls I hit in 2 years.
Right.
I backed that off to 100 a day.
Yeah.
That was up until about,
I
would say-
balls driving a day.
yeah, just driving balls. And then you have to go work on putting and chipping.
Of course.
But the first 2 years was 85,000.
That's what he just said. That's
Give or
why I'm
take,
saying
give or take
crazy.
a couple hundred balls. It was
85,000 in a year.
Yeah. So that was 300 balls, 400 balls a day.
That's crazy.
So
For
your
2 years.
wrist and arms and stuff. So I wanted to ask you one thing. I hate to. Strength and conditioning. Do your arms get sore? They gotta get sore. Your shoulders. What is
My
it? Your hips?
I find there's little muscles in the top of your shoulders that get tired.
Right.
They're
Rotator
small.
cuffs.
But I have no rotator cuff issues. I have no
Yeah, you've never
mobility
been injured.
issues. Never been injured.
Wow.
Never had a surgery. My
That's
back is
nice, right?
No
strong.
knee.
So you're ready.
problems.
No. So back to your question about my week.
Yeah.
My week looks like this. My Sunday's for my family. So
Right.
let's start on Monday.
Yeah.
Monday I wake up, and Monday's kind of good because Sunday I've had off, so I can wake up a bit early. First thing I do is have my breakfast. I talk to my wife and son. They go off. He goes to daycare. She goes to work. I take my time, have a coffee, and then I'm thinking range or play. I make the decision that day. If I feel I haven't been
Nice.
playing well, I don't want to waste my money playing. I'm going to go practice, and I will get there, and I'll put my bag down at my little spot on the putting green, and I will. And when I say practice putting, every putt matters to me.
Oh, for sure.
I want that line.
course.
I want that line on the ball to stay perfect. And if it doesn't, why isn't it staying perfect? And I'll work on my weight distribution. Like, how far am I going to hit that? How far do I want it to go past the hole? Those things take fucking years.
Yeah,
They
for
take
sure.
years
It's precise. It's precision.
to be consistent. You
Yeah.
may be able to do it. Like I might say, Marco, hit the ball straight on a line.
Yeah.
And you
I
may
could
do
get
it and you'll
one
be
out
like,
of
wow,
20 or
yeah.
whatever.
So
If that.
consistency.
Yeah.
And that is just pure put in the time, put in the hours.
So
right?
you're aiming for like 9 out of 10 going on that line exactly where
yes.
you want it.
Yes, if I feel
You're
good
aiming
about
for
it,
10 out of 10, but
right.
you know,
In golf is not going to let you 10 out of 10 most days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then I'll move. If I feel comfortable, I'm warmed up. I'll go over to chipping and I'll warm up my upper body and chipping, make sure my posture is good. Okay.
Just
So I'll
getting
do that.
kinda
Yeah.
line
So
and
I'll chip
everything good.
until I feel like I'm getting my my distances correct and
Yeah.
my trajectory is good because trajectory is important as far as
Your
what I'm looking
reads.
at on the reads. Yeah. How much is the ball going to spin off my club?
Kind of like a football quarterback in a way.
It's a lot to it, and so I'll do that, and then I'll go hit the range for an hour. So let's say I'm there for about 4 hours. I'll come home, I'll have a shower, I'll go pick up my boy, and of course I can't tell him, hey, buddy, I'm sorry, I'm tired. He's gonna be like, hey, let's go for a bike ride.
Yeah.
All right,
Wants to
man,
do
I'm,
something.
I'm gonna strap on the rollerblades and we're gonna go out.
Of course.
And then
you
you
are.
say, oh, let's go to the park, Dad. Okay, let's go to the park for a little while. It always ends up being way longer. But I spend my hours with him because it's very important for him. I didn't have that as a
and
kid.
he's the cutest kid.
He is a cute kid.
He's the
I see him on the
cutest kid.
Facebook.
He's a beauty.
Yeah.
He's a beauty. And you know what? He's a good kid. And
Yeah.
that's really important to us as mom and dad.
Oh,
Is
for sure.
make sure he knows, like,
When
be
he
good.
knows
Be
you're
good to
there.
people. Be good to pets. Be good
Yeah.
to animals. You know, like very important. And he's come. I mean, he's an awesome kid. He's
Yeah.
fun. So I'll spend my hours with him, and then all of a sudden, it's okay. Mom's getting home from work. I gotta have a shower. I get ready for work. So then I go to work, and I'll work until 4 a.m. And then I'll come home, and I'll be pretty tired, and I'll fall asleep at about 5 after something to eat. Wake up the next day at
Do it
noon
all
or
over.
1, and then my day gets started again. He's already at daycare. She's already gone to work.
Right.
I
Everyone's
have my
kind of
coffee.
you're by yourself.
Yep. Do
Then
my
focusing.
thing. Yeah.
Back to
Alrighty.
golf.
What do you do on those days when you're like, you know what? I don't want to do nothing. All I want to do is have a brew, maybe smoke a little hula. I don't know if you do.
You
But
know,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Do the
totally.
things that us Surrey guys
if
do sometimes. to
if
relax,
I
right?
feel I've put in a lot, and if I feel a little
know what I
bit,
mean?
Like a
little bit
burnout?
run down, I will take a day off. But I can tell you, as a golfer, if you take 2 days
it
off,
turns into 3, 4. I get
no,
you.
not that. It actually
Ah.
is hard to get back to where you were if you take a couple of days or a little.
Makes sense.
It just takes a longer. I know Marco has said to me, you know what? It's okay. You had a bad tourney. Just go and take a week off. And
Yeah.
very
You're
difficult
you
for me
can't-
to do. I can
can't.
take a day.
Yeah.
Maybe have an extra day with my boy or my wife. But yeah, it's back to business
Because you
after
can't,
that.
you know, there's got to be those days where you just say, you know what,
There are those days, especially in the wintertime. you
especially
know?
when you're driving a bus all night, you're cold.
No, I don't. It doesn't bother me at all. No,
You just
No.
think about, are you thinking about golf on the bus?
totally. That's
That's
what I
it.
say. I could drive by
I'm being
stops.
honest with you, right?
I drive by stops and think, fuck, did
I'm
I
going to
even-
say it one more time. You're that fucking guy, right?
I'm
the
that
bus
guy.
driver
I'm that
sometimes.
guy. Yeah.
Just joking.
That's awesome.
But-
So that's pretty impressive. So basically,
It is
you're
impressive.
pretty much a professional. Like you're putting
Pro-am.
you're putting like professional hours in training
Oh, yeah.
to get to being a professional.
I would love to
athlete.
have more. I would love to
Yeah.
have full 8 hours sleep. I would love to have 8 hours of practice and not 4.
Okay.
I think that could propel. things.
to the next level.
But at the same time, I feel like I'm on the right path, and I just have to keep.
Do you
doing
ever
what I'm
think
doing.
that maybe like if you went home, or I don't know if you do, but do you do like any type of program where you're working your hips or your shoulders, or making something maybe you can do it at home or something to get
Yeah, I
you,
do.
you sound like the guy that's going to be going all the time and thinking
You
about
know,
it all the time, right?
when I'm out with
Trying
my
to.
son, he gets me flexible all the
bet
time.
so,
He's
right?
like, "Dad, come up on this slide. Let's play."
So
Whatever.
you're up doing all that.
I'm up
I
doing
like
all of
that.
that.
I like
Yeah,
that.
it's important, and I want him to be good at sports. I want
Lucky
him
guy.
to enjoy it. If he's enjoying it, I'll say, "Let's go out and play ball. Let's play baseball. Let's hit a few balls." Be like, "I want to play soccer." Yeah, okay, let's play soccer. That involves more running.
Right.
So it keeps me loose,
Makes
keeps
sense.
me, and I try and eat right, and I try and do the right things.
So
It's like I do with my dog. Sometimes
so
I run on.
what are you driving the ball? Like
Wow.
what's your best part of your game?
It's always moving, but I will say
Most
I would feel like over the years, I think my
Yeah.
driving and my putting is the best parts of my game. I would say my chipping is the weakest, and if
Mhm.
I find a weakness, I just keep pounding it out until
Nice.
I feel good. However, sometimes you can pound things out so much and feel good, and when it comes to a tournament and you got that shot, and I may reflect on that shot,
Yeah.
if it doesn't go as planned, I get a little more pissed off.
Yeah.
The chipping, is it more like the grass length that you're
Yeah,
stuck
there's
in?
a lot. There's a lot. If it's wet, if it's long, if
Do you
there's
wanna work- yeah,
grass in
actually-
between your ball, if there's grass in between your ball, the ball's not going to spin as much. So you've got to account for that.
That makes sense.
It's not going
right?
to grab the green. It's going to actually run out. So you
Right,
have to account
right,
for that.
right,
So maybe
right,
a little
right,
more
right, right.
loft at that time, or but you got to keep the club moving. If you decel, amateur golfers know what happens when you decel.
That means if once you're going, let it go.
Yeah, you better fly that club through.
Just let it, like whatever happens.
Once you're committed, you're committed.
Commit
That's all I
to
meant
it.
to say,
Commit.
yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
decel
Took
as
the
you're
words out of my
coming
mouth.
down, because when you decel, that's when fat chips and scullies and all that ugly stuff starts happening, and it kills your confidence.
Yeah, for sure.
honestly.
What's it like in the sand?
Sand's pretty basic.
Yeah.
For me, it's just open the face. Usually, I like to be close to the
open up
green
the face.
What
when
if
I.
the sand's wet? Is it-
Yeah, makes a difference. So it gets
Of
a little
course, right?
heavier. Maybe you want to kind of slam into it a little more down.
Right.
For myself, I don't know how
Yeah.
other golfers do.
I
but that's
don't play
just kind of
it.
what I think of. If
Okay.
it's fluffy sand, I'm gonna kind of just try and slide the club right under the ball.
Right.
Whereas heavy sand, you want to kind of really
Such a
hit it.
science, man.
Oh,
it
there's a lot.
really
That's,
is.
That's just a part of it. Yeah. I remember going to Kapalua. I got the opportunity to play there. I got married in Hawaii, and then
Nice.
we had our honeymoon in Maui. And
Oh, for real? You played there?
so what happened was I was working at Meadow Gardens at the time because I wanted free golf. So I was out there raking with the
course you
machine,
were.
just dragging the thing.
love the
looking
grind,
at the
man.
sun
I
come
love that
up, looking
grind.
at the sun come up.
Yeah.
I put in my
Loving
hours.
the
As
grind.
soon as I'm done my hours of work, I'm out on the golf course and I'm playing for free, which is beautiful because
Yeah.
golf can be really expensive. So I get over to Kapalua. I'm on my honeymoon, and the director of operations at Meadow Gardens had called over to Kapalua and said, "Hey, I've got this guy. He's on his honeymoon. Can you give him a call at his hotel, and can he play at your course?" And normally they run about $350, $375 to play because that's where the Tournament of Champions is held.
I know exactly what course you're talking about.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's where all
awesome.
the winners
I
from
played
that
Tiger
year on the
Woods, bro.
PGA get to go and they play. So I remember watching this on TV, and I remember thinking, how the hell are they hitting it 400 yards on hole 18?
Yeah.
It is downhill, and they always have a grid to show you how far they're hitting. And almost every single one of them was hit at 400 or 380 or whatever.
Downhill.
So downhill, and if you hit right to left, you can actually get spin on the ball to make it shoot down a little better, right?
Yeah.
So so this guy calls me up in the hotel from Kapalua, the
That's
director
awesome.
there, and he says, "Hey, Tony Lachapelle." I said, "Yeah." He says, "I hear you want to play our course." Oh, I said, "I'd love to play your course, but I don't want to pay $350. I'm on my honeymoon." He goes, "What time can you be here?" I said, "Well, I don't know. It's
Like
7."
now?
Like he called me at 8:30 in the morning.
Right.
Like I'm still in bed, right?
But
And
I
my
know
honeymoon.
you, right?
I was
Yeah,
up. I was up.
exactly, man.
So he says, what time can you be here? He says, what we're going to do is, because it's your honeymoon, we're going to set you
that's
up for
awesome.
breakfast, you and your wife. And if she doesn't want to come, I said, no, she'd want to come. Okay, well then we'll send you to the range with a guy, because the range is kind of through a tunnel and really like awesome range.
Yeah.
I mean, something I've never seen before, pro, right?
Spectacular, right?
So he says, you come down, feed you breakfast, you go to the range. As soon as you're ready to go, we're going to send you out with one of our guys who is knowledgeable about the course, kind of like a caddy, right?
Yeah,
Who knows
right,
the
right.
course. And
What do you wanna lay out?
unfortunately, I'm going to have to charge you $30 for the cart.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
too bad.
Sorry, when did you want me there?
Exactly.
So we show up,
$30.
beautiful
Jesus.
breakfast. I go to the range.
That's
I'm hitting
awesome.
ball. We
And
play
you're
the
golfing
course.
the most beautiful paradise
It
in
was
the world.
amazing, like amazing.
Beautiful.
Like, I watch it on TV every year. I'm pretty
Yeah.
stoked about that particular
Well, I've been to Hawaii
tournament.
myself, so I know exactly what the feeling. Not
So we
that
get to the
feeling, but-
18th hole, and I'm like, okay. So I said to the guy who brought us out there, I said, okay, I've seen guys on TV hit this 400 yards. He says, yeah,
Consistently.
if you hit a high draw, you can run the hill, and it will keep running, and you will get that yardage. If he says, I've watched you
So
hit balls
if
all
a
day.
ball lands and keeps rolling, it
If
can
you have the
count.
correct spin on it,
Same
so you
as-
got to hit a high draw. You can't hit a high fade
Right,
because it's
right,
going to stick
right,
into the
right,
hill, kind of
right,
thing,
right.
kill
I
it,
get you
right?
now.
So okay, so I hit this thing, and I don't think there's many drives in my life that I've actually really paid attention to as much as I did that one, and I couldn't have pulled it off any better. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to be good. This ball goes up, and it's turning, and it's just with the ocean background and
Yeah.
everything. I mean, I can still remember it very. very
There's a tear
clearly.
coming to your
This
eye
is
right now,
2013.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So this ball hits and it runs down, and so we go down there, and he measures it out 407,
Oh, that's beautiful.
and I said,
Wow.
oh, thank God I didn't come up to 315
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
guys are hit.
Come
so
up
that,
short,
That,
so
that
to
was
speak.
confirmation to me that I'm
That
okay
you can
with
do
dis-
this.
Yeah, I'm okay with distance.
And you're close.
And you're at you're hitting it at pro level.
Yeah, but I need to be more consistent, and there's a lot of work.
But
that
the
needs,
drive's power is there.
Yeah,
can get it there.
I'm not overpowering. I'm not going to be
But
DJ.
you can get it there.
I can get it there. I can
All
play
that
the
matters
game.
That, you're making steps, and then you make the next step.
Yeah. So
Makes sense, no?
That's awesome.
Yeah, if I didn't have that, if I didn't feel like I could compete, if I could
Always
hit
want to
the
get better,
games,
right?
Always want to get better. That's
Have you
have to
ever
have
had
that.
any so have you ever had any coaching or hooked up to see how good your swing is or
One
or
day
stuff
I
like that?
asked Matt Paulsenberg. He's out
Yeah.
of Northview. He plays a lot of golf. I heard a lot of good things about him. I wanted to see. He hooked me up to what's called a K-Pack
Oh, cool.
or a K-Vest.
Yeah.
Puts it on and it shows. And he said to me after I was done, he said, you know what's interesting? He says your hips are very level through your swing. He says a lot of the pros, they will have a 6-inch lift in their hips.
When you mean lift,
Like if they're right-handed, their left side hip comes up 6 inches through into
okay,
it.
okay.
Through the
Go ahead,
spin.
go ahead.
So I thought it was a bad thing. So I'm like, oh fuck, how do I change that? He says, no, don't change that. That makes straight balls. When you're level hip, it makes for a straight shot.
Of course.
So anyway, okay, thanks.
So you're ahead of the game.
Level is level, right?
Level is a good thing, and that's all I needed to know. After that, no. After that day, I never went back to him. I haven't had any. It's just been, I feel like if I'm doing the right things, if I'm playing well, I know that I can play.
Yeah.
Consistency is the problem with every golfer.
Oh,
have to
for
be
sure.
consistent.
But do golfers do strength and conditioning programs and stuff? They must, right?
They do, and maybe I lack that only because I just don't have the time. I could probably
So you're
slide it in.
thinking, put in on the skill, get the skill where it needs to be, and then when I get that time,
This is
it's gonna be on, right? Because I know you'd be lifting weights 2 hours and stuff. You'd be doing
This is a decade long. I've gotten into this.
That's
If
crazy.
I could have the extra time, I think I would. I could probably make time, but then I'd be taken away from either my family or my own practice. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want to give that up
No, it makes sense.
for physical stuff because I feel like I'm physically fit still.
You look great, brother.
Thank you.
You look
Appreciate
great, brother.
that.
You look
Yeah.
great, brother.
Yeah, and then what happened was crazy enough. 2 years ago, a sponsor comes along for me,
Right.
and out of nowhere wants to help me out with golf
really?
and throw it out there. And I have more love for that than anything because it took a lot of pressure off my family. You know, I own a house. I have 2 cars. I have a
Yeah, so
son.
like
I
you
have-
got
It's expensive,
fee.
man.
Yeah,
Golf
yeah.
is expensive. If
Of
you want
course,
to play full
clubs,
time,
and you got to get the top of the line.
well, you got to
can't
get
be-
the ones fit
But you-
for you. So you got to pay $100 to get fit. Then you got to buy the club. Yeah, the
So
newest
you got to
stuff
get your
that's
clubs
like
custom fitted. Is what you're
Yes,
saying.
I do, because lie angles and stuff are important for my height. For
Right.
my the lie angles are very important.
This is crazy. I never
That's
knew any
awesome.
of this.
So
It
it's
sa- it
all
says-
weather.
It
It's
says here all weather maintenance.
all weather maintenance, and I have
And
nothing but
property
love for them.
services. Wow,
And,
that's
wish
Give it up to
them
all
the
weather
best.
maintenance right now.
You.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
If
that's great. So do you think that if you could get like because you're pretty close, like, would you say you're pretty close to getting to that next level?
I would say in this game.
What would it take to get the next level plus
Yeah.
that?
Well, that's funny. I was asked that 2 years ago, and I said it's all financial,
Mhm.
and I still stand by that.
Yeah.
So you said to the person, the sponsor, all weather, give it up to all weather.
Give it up
maintenance.
to all weather.
Yeah.
Give them all the love because they have made my life. They've let me pursue my dream, and I'm
That's
not sure
cool.
that I'd been able to continue that financially. It's pretty tough. So yeah, nothing but love for them.
All right.
As for the question, golf is funny. You know,
Yeah.
you can get a hole in one when you least expect it.
Yeah, for
Nobody
sure.
expects it. Guys go out there. I know from watching PGA Tour golf, there are guys that are so close, or were so close to quitting.
Yeah.
And we're just, the grind of the travel and the mental grind and missing cuts. And when you're missing cuts, you're not making money.
No.
If you make the cut, you're making some money. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So they're ready to give up.
And when you
they have
say-
been on the
No,
edge,
no, no.
like
When-
like literally, they have said, I was so close, and at
And then
that
they win
when
the
you
moment,
say
tournament.
cut,
they won the
when you say
tournament. and
cut,
it's-
you mean there's a certain amount of golfers that make the tour and a certain amount.
No.
No.
What I'm saying is, you have
Yeah,
a tournament
tournament.
for 4 days.
Okay.
Thursday, Friday, these guys all play, so you got 100 players.
Right.
After Friday, if you don't make that so whatever,
cut.
if you don't make the
Whatever
cut, so that
it
means
is.
what the average shooting is, right? The
Gotcha.
average scores or
Yeah.
whatever. If you don't make that,
It's
you walk away
-1,
with
-2,
nothing.
whatever it is.
So you
right.
pay to get in, you miss the cut,
It's
you
done.
make-
Your money's done.
you're done. If you make the cut, at least you have some money for the next few
Average
tournaments. Don't know. On the tour, like on the
Well,
professional
with
stuff.
travel, everything, it
Yeah,
could be like
it-
5-10 grand.
Well, for sure it could be
Um,
right. That's what I thought you might have known that. Sorry, I just
No, I don't think it's that much.
No.
To be honest, I think it's cheaper than that.
Okay.
And depends on how you want to go about it. You want to fly down, you want to drive down, you want to sleep in an expensive
I guess
hotel,
if
you
you're
want to sleep in
grinding,
your
you're
car.
grinding.
If you're
right?
grinding
A lot
like
of the-
John Daly, it's probably pretty cheap.
The
right,
good
right,
thing-
grinding a beer, doing the old fashioned way. Right?
Yeah, the good thing is,
Yeah.
you can cut costs sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. Live a little less luxuriously. But ultimately, I think that it will happen. I believe in fate. I believe in hard work.
Yeah.
That's one thing my dad did teach
The
me: is
grind.
work hard. The
Fuck,
grind.
this is crazy, man. This is awesome. If there's any other sponsors out here that want to get on board with this, this big dog here might be
This might
on
be
the
the train
tour
you
here
want to get
pretty
on,
soon.
man.
We're trying. We're
Yeah,
trying,
definitely give Beers with Brokeass a shout out, and we'll go from there. Maybe we could drum up some Surrey-based sponsors, man.
Would love
I
it.
think
Would
So
love
that's
it.
what you. So basically, what you need is probably to not work driving bus for a year or two.
Get out that bus, man. Let's get him on the course, man. Let's get him there daily.
That's that's
Talk about daily here.
that's something I haven't even thought of because it's just not something I can kind of comprehend around my
But
head.
you have to think of
and there's no guarantees. That's
Yeah.
the issue that maybe some sponsors would have was like, who's this guy? He's
Yeah, but
on-
there's never a guarantee.
There's never a guarantee.
There's never.
but
a
I
guarantee.
but I
Sometimes
promise.
you can't be a slave to conformity. You know you have a dream. I know you have
Yeah.
kids. And I know you have responsibilities. But if maybe it starts going well for you, I think you take your jump in that pool and you go, man.
Well,
confidence is a big thing.
Yeah,
and if
here's
I
the
can
thing
get
also.
confidence-
Oh,
Right. Go ahead, Marco.
for a lot of sponsors, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. So what do you make in a year?
Oh, maybe you'd have to ask my wife.
Yeah,
I would say
is it like 60-ish?
No, I think it's a little higher than that.
Okay.
I'm
definitely higher than that.
So, anyways, a sponsor though, $60,000 to a sponsor, say
The
like
Coke or something? They
say
just
like
throw
a
that shit
beer
down the tube,
sponsor,
right?
Central City Brewery,
Right,
or
right,
Russell
right.
Beers, or like
Russell
these beer
Beers.
sponsors and stuff. That's nothing to them.
Or
the
maybe
payoff,
mostly Canadian, which
hold
I'm
on a
drinking
sec
right
here.
now.
Hold on, yeah, for sure. The payoff though, if you do make it, that is huge advertising for them. They get you from the beginning. You don't go to work, get the sponsors in there, and then you just go into the range.
The only thing I can guarantee, honestly, if that were to happen, the only thing I can guarantee is that I'll be there. I'll be there.
See,
I'll be working hard.
I knew if
I haven't given that up.
I knew if I was Nike or Coke, I'd invest in you.
Thanks, man.
I like
Appreciate
the grind.
it.
I like that grind.
Thank you.
I like the grind, man.
It's
well,
tough,
it shows
but it's
heart,
worth it.
right? Like
that's what it is. It's
you
all
grow
about
up in
heart.
one of the worst areas in Canada, right? Guildford Wally, and then
and you're gonna come out of that
at
area?
35, you go up to your wife and say, "Hey, maybe I want to become a professional golfer, man." That's unheard of.
And that's balls.
Yeah,
I'll give them balls on that.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I go when I went to my girl and said the same thing years ago about MMA. I had to hide that I was training. I couldn't come home with the black eyes because I had a job where if I got hurt, I couldn't work, kind of thing, right? And I'd be this and that. In the end, I still did it. You know why? Because you gotta live your dreams, and it's so great that you have a wife that supports your dreams.
Yeah.
Big up to your wife.
Huge up to my wife. The support for my family is immense, and it continues. And trust me, she has been through the hard times as much as I have.
Yeah.
Maybe not the bad range days. She's not there in the -2 snow falling on my ball as I'm hitting it.
The shit
She is, and she, just one more quick thing. I remember,
No. Okay, we're good here. Like, there's no quick thing, man.
No, one more.
Something came to my mind. Something came to my mind.
It's called Beers with Brokeass,
Brokeass.
man. We're drinking beers. I'm
Cheers,
on my
boys.
7th
Cheers to
beer.
that.
Cheers to that, right?
Cheers.
So I have a 2-day. It's my first 2-day event at Northview. And Northview happened to be my home course where I practiced all the time. I knew the course very well. Home field advantage. This is many years, probably 4 years after my first tournament at Squamish. So I'm ready for this one. So, that night she says, I'm going to come with, the first day she wasn't coming. I was there by myself.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it because the first hole, I hit a beautiful drive. My approach shot, I wanted to be smart. There's a little ridge in the center of the first green. I wanted to be on the left side, the pin's on the left. I don't want to be on the right. Otherwise, you got this kind of funny roller coaster putt. I hit I think it was a 8-iron or a 7-iron into that green, and I put myself about 10 feet from the hole, and I had a nice putt for birdie. And it just kind of caught the edge. It didn't go down, but I thought, that's a nice start.
Yeah.
We walk over to the second hole. There's a 3-group backup. So I have to wait at least 25 minutes to hit my next tee shot, and that's not good. When you're trying to get into a rhythm, right?
Into a rhythm.
Get that rhythm going.
So, like 35 minutes goes by. It's finally my turn to hit. I pull it straight OB over into the parking lot. And now my mind is racing, kind of like, okay, I got to settle it down. Now I've got to take a drop from where I've hit it. Or re-tee, actually, because it was OB. So I re-tee the ball.
That means out of bounds.
I kind of hit a shitty one, whatever. I'm not happy with it. I walk up to the next shot, and I remember there was one tree that was probably 50 yards ahead, and there was one branch. It must have been 1.5 inches wide, and it was sticking out. And I thought to myself, there's no fucking way I'm going to hit that branch.
Right, because it's...
So I buttered.
Guess what, motherfuckers?
You know what
Guess
happened.
what, motherfuckers?
You know what happened. It hit this
Shit's
fucking
going
branch,
down.
and it shot behind me. The ball ended up behind me.
Really?
Fuck.
And if you have played enough golf, for those guys that have put their rounds in, when things start going bad, it can snowball. And it just snowballs. And I think I shot like 8 or 12 over or something that day. And I went home, and after all the hard work and all the practice I'd put in, I was so upset. And I remember my son wasn't there that day. I don't know if he was at his cousin's or what, but I remember sitting down for dinner, and my wife says to me, Tony, I know that you had a bad day today.
Yeah.
And I broke down, and I fully teared up, and I said, I'm done. I don't want it anymore. Yeah. I'm so fucking furious. I was so mad. I was so
it was like at that point,
man.
Breaking.
I was selling my clubs to the first fucking bid.
Like Craigslist
give me
was coming.
$30.
You're making that phone call.
So she let me vent for probably half an hour. I went off. I had tears coming out of my eyes, and I had put in so much that my heart hurt. And she said to me, she goes, "You're not giving up. I'm going to come caddy for you tomorrow, and it doesn't matter what you shoot. You're just going to play golf. Forget about the pressure. Forget about that.
Yeah.
You're out of it
Do it
anyway.
for the love that
the leaders at 3 under, and you're sitting at 12 over.
Right.
Don't worry about it. Let's
enjoy
just
your
go and
day
have a day.
Have a fucking nice day, right?
So it's funny because had she not been there to talk me out of that, I
would
probably
quit.
would have quit. The only time I would have quit. She talked me back into it. We go out the next day. I tried to not care. I cared a bit, right? I shot the best tournament round I've ever shot that second day.
No
of
way.
course, I didn't win because
Yeah.
everybody else was,
Yeah.
heads and shoulders above me. But she got me back in there,
Yeah.
and that was probably 6 years ago. I've never looked back since.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's not easy because you're on a roller coaster. Like
All the time.
you shoot great, things are going good at home.
It does,
for sure.
and
You
it's
know what I mean, bro?
and don't forget, it's hours. It's not
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a hockey game where you can go out and bash somebody or take a
Yeah.
hard
Oh,
shot
yeah.
and you're
You're pissed
feeling
off
dead.
for like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
until you get
and
out
you
there
can't
again.
throw
Weeks,
clubs. You can't.
months sometimes.
Yeah.
You can't be swearing on the course. You can't be throwing it out there.
Yeah.
You may say, and trust me, we all swear a little to ourselves, but it has to be controlled, especially if you're trying to present yourself. There's
Yeah.
kids watching. There's
Especially that game. This isn't Happy Gilmore.
no, and we're not out
Yeah,
there
it ain't a
drinking.
movie, right?
Yeah.
No,
It's just
I don't.
real.
I don't drink when I play. I don't drink when I practice. I don't
Can't.
smoke when I practice.
Because we're talking like if you go into any type of sport, especially golf,
Yeah.
and you're drinking and you're getting high or whatever, it's just not gonna work.
You can't give you can't give
How do
100%
you-
if you're
right.
doing that.
So how does it work? So because a lot of people that we know, they're not golfers. Like they might be like
Makes
weekend
sense.
warriors or summer warriors where they're hitting the ball and stuff. But so how does it work if you're going to transition from amateur to pro?
Good
Like
question,
what's
good
the
question.
steps?
It comes down to me. It's
Yeah.
when I feel I'm ready. If I don't feel I'm ready, I'm not going to stick myself in there because
Yeah.
I'm going to get eaten alive by these guys. There's some,
Amazing golfers.
amazing golfers, and they're on a different level.
But do you have to get eaten alive in order to kind of?
No, I
progress?
don't think
Do
so.
you
I just I got to make sure that I'm shooting
Right.
even par +1,
Yeah.
2 under, something like
up
that.
with somebody.
I
that's-
have had 3 or 4 rounds of bogey-free golf in my career, and that's hard to do.
Yeah.
I hit 17 greens in regulation, so there are.
What's the average pro go? If you're talking about
I'm going to say
bogey-free.
a score of 68 would probably be
Wow.
someone that's
And what do you shoot right now?
my
Roughly?
best score is 65, so that's
Yeah.
a 7 under.
It's really good, man.
My tournament wins. One of them was 3 under par, and one of them was even par, and one of them was 1 under par. So
Yeah.
you're talking like 70, 68. So I'm
Wow.
kind of there when I'm playing my best,
Mm-hmm.
but it has to be all the time. Otherwise, I'm not going to put myself in there because they pay a little more. Plus, they have less tournaments.
Okay. So say you were gonna go from amateur to pro.
Mm-hmm.
Can you jump back to amateur?
So that's the thing. So that's
can,
where they
right?
kind of get you.
Oh.
If you do that, they make you take a full year off of
Wow.
any competitive golf
Wow.
before you can drop back to amateur.
You can't do that in any other sport. I've never heard that.
And in every other sport, you get paid before you play.
If
and
I did
golf,
MMA and if I did pro and I came back to amateur, I'd get a fine. I'd be screwed. I wouldn't get a
yeah,
license. It
yeah,
wouldn't happen.
it's
Can't go
something
backwards.
that they're aware of. They
So
don't want guys jumping in.
So they do that so they don't have a flood of people thinking that they can make it because
Right.
they went out
Goddamn
and
right.
shot a 64 one time in their
Had a lucky
lifetime.
day, right?
And they're normally like a 77.
So I get what you're saying now about knowing when it's time to pull the trigger.
Yes, and I'm true to myself in that aspect. I know Marco's brought it up a few times, like, hey, like, do you want to take that step? And I'm just not ready yet.
Yeah.
Like I say, this year I played probably some of my worst golf in a long time, but I feel like I'm coming out of that now. But it's
Yeah.
been a long stretch, and that's the thing with golf.
Well,
is
so you had the
don't
COVID,
know.
you had some time off.
You don't know when it gets better. You don't know when it's going to fall apart. It just comes and goes when it pleases. When the golf gods allow you to be
Yeah.
great, hopefully I'm in a position to move to that other level. And I think that will happen.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's right now. I'm not ready yet. And
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep pushing. And
That's
like,
awesome.
like if we can get some more sponsors,
Yeah.
hey,
Let's do
You know-
that. Let's get some sponsors up.
yeah.
Absolutely.
If
man.
we can get people to
Right.
believe in what I believe in, and I don't think I'm crazy. And
No,
my
I
I
don't
don't think
think
you're
you
crazy
are.
at all.
And especially if you're
You gotta
putting
live your dreams, brother.
if you're putting the time in like that, like if you're
Right.
telling someone that you banged out 85,000 balls in a year or 2 years,
85,000 golf balls.
yeah,
just
so
hitting at the range, yeah.
Yeah.
I
At
meant
the
like,
range.
let's be clear, they're golf balls, not
Oh, yeah,
85,000 balls a year. Right? You know what I mean?
we had a little ball
Thanks.
story
Oh,
podcast.
I missed
We had a
that. I
ball
wasn't here
story
for that.
podcast, so we don't want to be like confusing podcasts and shit, right? But what I was gonna ask you earlier is like,
Wow.
there's a local golfer like Richard Sokol or someone like that's famous from this area of Richmond or whatever. What does it take to like a guy like that? What makes him a pro?
Probably playing since he was a kid, having coaching, having
Just like serious cash.
you know, having the parents that could afford to put him in the full
So
time.
take some money.
Not so much the money, just the backing of having
Right.
either parents or
I worked at his mom's place one time, so I just always wonder, how's this guy?
Yeah, so
Richard's so cool.
I think it really starts at a young age. So what I'm doing is actually out of the norm. I'm doing what I believe is
I like that.
my path. How do you say it?
Passion.
It's where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
I'm just not there yet, but I know that it's for me because of the way my life has gone all the way through high school. Through
Yeah.
you know, we grew up in a pretty rough area, right?
Fucking
We've seen a
crazy
lot of
area.
stuff.
Yes, and for all three of us to be sitting right here.
Yeah, it's
Not
very
jail,
cool, right?
and to
And
be
I have a lot of
shaking
still
hands
close
and having
friends.
beers, that's just
Darren
crazy,
Mitchell,
right?
Steve Mitchell, Rob Gibson,
Yeah.
like
I still
all
see
these
those
guys
guys.
still around. Paul Graham, like
And doing well.
and doing well. It can't be
We
perfect.
grew up with some characters, man. I honestly tell you the truth, I would not have changed it. I wouldn't have changed it because I met some of the funniest, coolest.
And I still know all you
characters.
guys.
And you know what? Here's a funny thing though. I bumped into somebody in the British properties, and I was telling some stories, and then he was like, "So you're still friends with your like guys from like?"
I
Isn't
told
it
this guy I
crazy?
love him.
Yeah,
That's what I
like
mean,
it's
right?
like four. I'm like, yeah, like we're still
mean?
friends with
Fuck
people
you
from
talking
like
about?
35, 37 years ago.
Yes,
I love
still
that.
call him up, text him,
Oh,
like,
and the guy was like, "That's like fucking crazy. Like that's unheard of."
and it's
right?
not just one, right?
Tony, multiple.
Tony, one
multiple.
time-
I
Yeah.
think there are some people that got off track, and
for
you know we've lost some good people, right? To drugs,
Yeah.
to
yeah,
abuse, whatever it is,
Car accidents, whatever it is.
whatever it
absolutely.
is, and
Rest in
and
peace
I
to
still see good
everybody
guys
that's
like
gone,
you
though.
and lovey
Yeah.
guys, and it's,
No, and absolutely. That's why I wanted to get you on here because like just from start to finish, it's not even, the story's not done yet, but it's so inspiring to me. When I first heard that you were going like through this, and I was like, fuck, like that is crazy, man. Like to absolutely.
well, yeah, and you've come out,
Yeah,
right? You've
like-
come out
Yeah,
to 2 or
definitely,
3
like-
tournaments.
I came out to a tournament and this guy drains like a 50-foot fucking puck.
Get out.
I think it was more like 30.
No, it was 35 or whatever it was.
I know, like, you know.
But
big
you
dog.
hit like 7 in a row because we were with that Jeff guy.
Right, Jeff
And
Sheldon. That's
Jeff
right.
Sheldon, and he was like, "Fuck." He's like, "Tony's on
again, you were
fire,
on,
man."
right? You
Like
were-
you were just everything. That
I was
you were
on.
hitting.
I love that feeling
It was
of
funny
Tony.
because I remember that day,
yeah,
and I was.
I have photos of it.
Well, actually, I remember a shot from that day because remember, I think it was on the back 9 somewhere, maybe like 13.
Yeah.
My tee shot ended up on the side of a hill, like a really steep grade hill. It was probably
Right,
45 degrees. Marco was with me, and I remember Ken and I talking about it, and I only had, I think it was like 160 yards or something, but the lie with my shoulders and everything was going to be so elevated
For a
that
non-golfer, what's the lie? What's the lie?
the
can
lie.
explain it
Okay,
a
so
little
the
bit.
lie is just the way the ball's sitting in the grass, or the way that it's sitting on a hill or a
the
slope.
angle.
The angle of this shot was like hitting it straight into the sky. It was like my left foot was straight up above my right.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to Ken about it, and Ken goes, "Well, you only got 160 yards, but you're gonna have to take a lot of extra club." And I was already thinking about that. And I don't know if you remember that shot, Marco.
I remember
but
that shot.
I hit like a 5-iron, and I mean this thing shot in the air like higher than any
Like
other.
200
right.
200 feet in the
And
air.
it ended up on the
Like
green.
a pop fly in baseball kind of
It
thing,
ended
right?
up on the green, and that was a big
Get
deal
out.
because that's hard to calculate, that kind of thing. And I knew that day that I was pretty on.
That's
you
why I
know,
think golf
I didn't
is
end
one
up winning, but it was a good experience for you. I hope
Absolutely,
coming
man.
out and
Absolutely.
seeing-
That's
was
why I think
taking
it's so
pictures.
scientific, right?
it was a good day.
Yeah, you were on
And,
a good run.
You know, to have you come out and stuff and support, it was pretty cool.
It was fun. Okay, you know what? What we're gonna do is we're not gonna wrap it up yet. We're gonna just do a little bit of a break here, and then we'll come in for the finale there. Here.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yo. Okay, fuck, awesome. We're here after the break. Ali G, I'd like to thank you for coming out. He already left, and let's just go into what's in the future here for you, dog.
Yeah, with COVID, it kind of messed everything up as far as
For everybody. in general.
yeah. I mean, but thankfully, I'm able to continue doing what I do, and
Nice.
nothing's closed on me, and I'll still be out there hitting
Grinding.
balls and chipping and putting away and trying to get it, dialed in for maybe some late summer tournaments.
Yeah.
I have one coming up on the 16th, and then after that, we'll have to see what comes up in October, November. pretty much going to the winter tour after that.
Nice.
I really, really, really want to play well in the winter. Smaller fields, maybe better opportunities to move forward and get some confidence going into next year.
Yeah.
It's funny because at the Vancouver Open, there was a guy that I talked to. He's a coach. His name is, what is his name now? Sorry, I can't remember his name. I'll think of it in a second.
Yeah.
But I contacted him a couple years ago when you and I had talked about coach. And, Rob Holding is his name. He's out of Richmond. I called him, and he's busy with juniors. At the time that I called him, I said, look, I didn't really get into specifics or how passionate or whatever I wanted to pursue. But I did bring it up like, hey, I heard a lot about you. I want to know if you'd like to take on another golfer. And he basically said, well, I will, but I'm really busy with the juniors, and I've kind of committed myself for 6-7 years with some of these juniors. So these young kids growing up, right, they're getting close to pro levels, and he's working with them a lot. So I kind of just left it at that. So I'm at the Vancouver Open last week, and I'm warming up, and he happens, and I didn't know it was him at the time, but he's with a junior in front of me. I'm at the next stall hitting balls. And I'm assuming that he was watching me hit balls because actually
that's
it
what
was probably it is.
They'll watch anybody.
They'll watch swings.
Yeah,
they'll see what's going on, right? And it so happened that warm up was probably one of my best warm ups I've ever had. I mean, I felt good. I wasn't looking at anybody else. I didn't know of him.
Yeah,
doing my thing, trying to get prepared for a big 3-day tournament. The Vancouver Open was a pretty big deal to me, and I felt great.
Yeah.
So I'm striping these balls out there, and I'm going through my bag from wedges to irons, mid irons to driver, back down through the bag. I leave for a bit. I go do some putting. I come back to hit some more balls before my tee time, and he's still there with the junior. And I look up one time, and he smiles at me and nods his head. And I was thinking, geez, he looks like the guy that I looked up on the internet, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this other kid comes in. And he says, "Hey, Rob, how you doing?" So I kind of put 2 and 2 together. I didn't say anything. I went back to the putting green before my tee off, and he came over with his junior, and they were putting kind of beside me. And I looked up once, and he's looking at me again, and he nods his head again and smiles. And so I wanted to make an uncomfortable situation kind of like, okay. I said, "Is your name Rob? Is your last name Holding?" He says, "Yeah, it is." And he kind of smiled like big, like he knew me or something. I said, "If you don't remember me, I called you a couple years ago because I wanted to look into a coach. I just felt like maybe I need one at this point just to kind of make it quicker transition into the pro level than I'm already at." And he came and started talking to me, and he goes, "Yeah, I remember talking to you on the phone. Back then I had a lot of time locked up with these juniors, but and I'm assuming that he saw me practice and kind of was interested. Yeah. And he said to me, I could probably free up some time for you. Like, what do you think? What are your days like?" So I just went on to say, "Well, Mondays are good for me. Call me." So I'm kind of thinking that maybe he wants to work with me a bit. Yeah. I don't know his pricing. I'm sure it's pretty high because he's getting the guys like almost ready to go. He's getting pro. And he's got that kind of that resume. I think because that's the reason I looked him up in the first place. Because I wanted somebody that's going to take the time and really see my passion and see, and really work hard to get me to where I need to be. Absolutely. But it just didn't work out at the time. I feel like he came to me this time. Oh yeah, that's kind of weird. Like I said it to my wife. She's like, "That's kind of strange that he would, kind of keep smiling and kind of keep nodding his head." Oh, like, for sure. Like he wants to interact. He sees something. So that was a cool moment for me. Unfortunately, I didn't play well in the Vancouver Open. Yeah. But, that's okay. I had a lot of bad luck to begin with. One tournament. Hard to recover. It is one tournament, but it's it takes a toll on me for a bit. But I'm right back out there again. I feel like the next day I kind of refocus and just get back. Awesome. Out there. So we're about to wrap it up, but let's just talk about your little Arizona trip. Right. Was it Arizona? It was Arizona. It was Phoenix, and it was. I think we came back on the 18th. Mm-hmm. No, sorry, we came back on the 12th. But great trip. I wanted to try Arizona because that's where the guys go that make the tours, and they want to go and work down there, and they live down there, and they practice on those greens. And it was cool because we played this course called University of Arizona or University. Oh, wow. And it's where John Rahm happened to grow up. And John Rahm, if you don't know him, he's either number 1 on the PGA right now, or he's number 2. Oh, is that the guy that's just killing it? Like, yes, he's absolutely killing it. In fact, he just sunk a 65-foot crazy ass putt to win the tournament over DJ. and it was pretty cool to watch. So we got to play that course, and you know, it's different, but it's the same. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
feel like I can get really comfortable with that kind of thing, and I'm not worried about fast greens. I'm not worried about.
Yeah.
It was an adjustment because up
Yeah.
here you've got Poana, mostly Poana greens, and
Yeah.
they're a little bit different.
Slower.
It's different grass, and so it was nice to get out there. We spent a week down there, played a ton of beautiful courses, and
Nice.
and I really wanted to experience it because where I hope to be.
Yeah, for sure.
And we had
That's
a great trip.
fucking
And
awesome.
as soon as we got back, the first case of COVID was announced here
Oh.
and in Phoenix.
Wow.
So thankfully we got down there. And we got
Yeah,
through that trip.
before-
And that was with Ken Stratton,
That's
my
right.
caddy who had to go to Edmonton. So
That's awesome.
we had a good time. Nice,
so
nice
you're
time
in and
catching
out
up.
before shit hit the fan.
Right before. So it
That's
was nice.
crazy.
Yeah, it's a nice trip. Good experience. And I learned a lot about their grasses.
Yeah.
And their rough is pretty crazy down there. And we had a great time. I shot pretty good down there, but that was
Nice.
kind of the beginning of the sort of slide a little bit right
Yeah,
now. And
yeah.
I'm working hard to push.
You'll get out of it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Fuck, man. I just wanted to say thank you very much for coming out.
I
It was,
appreciate you having me.
Yeah, this was good. This was good.
Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Okay, so like, share, and subscribe. Also, please, 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 please never drink and drive. Always be careful on the roads. Put the phone down. And give a shout out with your comments. We love to respond to comments. Thank you very much. Beers with Brokeass loves to respond to the comments.